Hey, man.
Yay! Luke, look at you.
Am I muted now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You look perfect.
Yeah, how you guys doing, man?
We're good. How are you? Are you at home?
I am at home, yes.
You're never at home. You're on tour forever, you guys.
Yeah, it's nice to be home a little bit for a minute. It's been a great, fantastic year, so I'm feel very grateful.
Can I call you? I can call you Luke, right, Steve, or Steve Luke? Or...
Nope.
I call you Luke.
Well,
Thank you.
He was so worried about that, Luke.
You know this reprobate, don't you? You know him.
Yes, I do. I know.
Yes,
I know.
yeah.
But you guys, man, you guys are the kings of the UK.
Like
Well-
you said that yeah, because Prince isn't such a cool gig these days. So King, I'll take.
Oh, Prince Andrew. Yeah.
Yes.
I was going, huh? And then,
Sorry.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the stuff we want. So Luke, because you just
some band's gonna come up with a song like "Andy's Got Shit Pants" or something like that. Just
I think it's you. I think you're going to come up with that song. Yeah,
I'm a docile guy now. I don't really do this very much because I think I'm always scared I'm going to say something that becomes clickbait or something like that.
Well, don't worry.
So the joys of the internet. You guys know what I'm talking about.
We know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, exactly. Yeah. Cancellation is just floating there the whole time, isn't it?
You know what, man? Here's how lucky that I'm old and there wasn't cameras around when I was a kid, man. I mean, I didn't do nothing illegal in terms of, I never made anybody do anything they didn't want to, and certainly of age. But many years ago, I led a little different lifestyle than I do now.
I wonder if anyone can do that now, because everyone's got a camera and everyone's got to film everything, and and we've all got to be good boys in the studio.
Wait till they start trying to implant stuff into you, and then you're like, what? Oh, really? No, it's better for you.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you about the kill switch. Bye.
Here's
no problem. Kill him now.
Well, just so you know, this isn't live, and you can edit out anything you don't like. All right. So,
have I said anything I shouldn't say yet?
So much.
I haven't done one of these in a long time. So,
how was Ringo?
Best, man. That's the greatest gig with the greatest human being I've ever known. I mean, he's a very special man.
We've got to protect him.
Friend now after going on 14 years.
Fantastic,
unbelievable. He invited me on. We're friends. We live near each other. I'm honored to say that we're friends.
It's his vitality. His vitality is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He never stops, man. He's finishing another country record, which he does with T-Bone in Nashville with all those guys, which is great, and he's loving that. He's getting success from that. Which is wonderful for him.
Yeah.
When you think, because Ringo,
I just love being in the band. I just get to be the guitar player and hang out with amazing musicians and artists and people. It's like I have two families. It's kind of like I have right now. I have my older kids in that life, and then my second, and me now, and just me, who sits alone in his house and drinks fake beer. And whenever you see beer around me, it's always fake. It's been 16 years. Give me a break.
No, same here. But do you find, Luke? I find I drink more beer now than I did when I drank because it's so good.
Well, I don't drink sodas.
Yeah.
It's either this iced tea or coffee or something. I don't really have a lot of I'm a simple guy. I get up real early too. In my defense, like why are you drinking in the morning? Well, it's not morning for me. I go to bed early and here's my whole rib. I thought about it today. I go to bed when I used to go out, and I wake up when I used to come home.
Yeah.
I know you guys understand.
Completely. It's like my thing is Luke, I think you'll get this, is that when you're on tour now, the difference is the gig is the end of the day, not the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, when I stopped 16 years ago or whatever, and I didn't know how to go on stage and play without having a little bit of half a heat on, The ugliness came after the gig, but I don't miss any of that shit at all, man. I really don't.
I don't know how anyone can sing when
I
they're
did it as bad as
in
you
that
can do
way.
it, man. I mean, I was a drunk. I mean, I admit it. I'm sorry to anybody I ever offended or upset or hurt. I've tried to make amends with people that are amendable. Otherwise, I just got to move on because I carry nothing but peace and love in my heart.
There you go.
You know, after all the years in now, going, you know, if you count me making my living solely from playing guitar, I've been in for 50 years. You know, 49 with Toto coming up next
Yeah.
year.
So hang on. So that means you were only playing professionally for a year before you started Toto.
No, I didn't. It
No.
was, first off, it is Jeff Porcaro and David Page's band. Let me get that straight.
Right.
So nobody gives me shit about, oh, it's no Toto. Look, man, you know, I take a lot of heat for this, man. It's like, I know Mike and Jeff aren't there anymore. I know Bobby is going through this horrible thing. David not being able to go on tour anymore because of medical stuff. You know what I mean? All I'm doing is keeping the music alive with the best players I can get. You know what I mean? Most of them are dear friends, you know?
Yeah.
Life.
And they want you to do that, don't they? They would want you to do that.
Well, even the people that don't want me to do it make a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
That there.
Yeah. But wouldn't you say, because in a way you're kind of
things that never happened. That's all.
Okay. But you're kind of bigger now as a live thing than you were. I mean, you know, we all came to see you at Wembley a few months ago.
Well, thank you, man. I mean,
great.
I'm really honored you guys were there, and you brought the big man himself.
We did.
DG was there, man, one of my all-time heroes, an old friend, man.
Yeah. No, he was.
But
you also, talking of that, you also had you brought on one of Jeff Beck's. You got Jeff Beck's guitar for a couple of numbers, or was it for one number?
Tell me the story about that,
please.
The white one, the Fender.
I got a call from Sean, his guitar tech, and also his wife, Sandra, who's always been very dear in my heart. You know, she's this wonderful, sweet, beautiful girl, and we're friendly. We were friendly when Jeff was alive. You know what I mean? Anyway, you know, I knew Jeff pretty good at one point. We hung out a lot.
I think there's many people who would argue with that.
And saying that, there's an incredible amount of incredible guitar players. It's scary. But as a trailblazer, you know, OG, isn't that what you say? I mean, like those guys that start, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, man, you know, they're still heroes of mine. You know, I mean, it was I don't know. It's weird when you get older. I guess they say that as you get older, you just have a tendency to listen to the music you were listening to when you grew up.
I think so,
and I'll cop to that. You know, I have an open palette. I mean, there's new things that I like. There's new players that are staggering. But in terms of album, the way we used to listen to albums, it was like nobody spoke. There was no outside interference.
The thing is, though, Luke, is that when you go on the internet now and you go onto Instagram or whatever, you can see thousands of kids playing, you know, shredding and playing super fast. And the thing is about, you know, in the day with Gimme and the other Gimme and Eric, is that you had to wait to listen to get that little bit of gold that was going to be released once every now and again. The mystique that surrounded them.
You know, as much as we all, as guitar players, we all love that stuff. I mean, come on, I'd be lying. I mean, listen, there was a point when that was an aim. Well, you have to play fast. You know, it's the 80s. You have to play fast. You know, and it was like, you know, ever since jazz fusion hit in the mid 70s, you know, with all the John McLaughlin, one of my all-time heroes, and a pal, I might say, and same with Al Di Meola. You know, I mean, these guys all of a sudden went somewhere else with it, and the technique became, you know, clean, fluid playing, and crazier music.
Yeah.
Can I chuck Jeff Skunk Baxter in there?
And then of course Eddie hit, you know, and then, you know, Satch and Vi and Patrice. I could, you know, the whole list of giant musicians that we all know.
Look, the Skunk Baxter, surely. The Skunk Baxter come into your...
Oh yeah, Skunk's been a friend of mine.
Desire.
You know, since I was a kid, he put a master volume on an Ampeg amp I had when I was like 14. And I didn't know who he was. He worked at Valley Sound down the street, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this is before Steely Dan, or he was doing it. I wasn't aware of it at the time. It was before I met the Steve Lukather and the whole family, you know, and then Jeff was in Steely Dan when we were in our high school band, and we used to play all Steely stuff. We had a great band. It was Steve Lukather, he was the leader, me and Michael Landau on guitar, John Pierce on bass, Carlos Vega on drums, keyboards, and we had 3 singers.
But it's just looking back now and you reeling off that list of names. I mean, you know, at the time you had no. I mean, that's insane.
Well, I've known Mike since I was 12. He's one of my oldest best friends. And John Pierce, I've known since birth. And a lot of the other cats I've met at least in the last 25 years.
This is some weird gene pool that you're hanging out with, right? It's like a
we laugh about it sometimes, but I mean, for all we knew, what we were doing when we were kids, every neighborhood was doing. We just had this bunch of guys that like, and there was none of these satanic devices, you know what I mean? we would listen to music, we'd play music, we'd learn music, we'd practice together, we'd be semi hoodlumous, and that's not even a word.
It's not far off though.
Well, then we hit the weekends and stand in front of a liquor store. Hey, dude, will you buy us some beer, man? Like me and Mike looked like we were like 10 years old. You know?
No, it was some high school, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're at high school. Well, we, you know, the original part of the guys that I'm talking about was like, let's just say John Pierce and Mike Landau and myself have known each other the longest. And then the Lukather family, Lukather brothers, you know, and Paige, they used to come to our high school gigs when Jeff was in Steely Dan. And Paige, they were working on Katie Lied, the album, when we were in high school. And we were playing some of the songs live before the record came out. As I remember, anyway. Yeah, because we played a lot for Katie Lied. Yeah, Jeff would come by with a cassette or something, and we get to hear it, and we were like, all I ever want to do is play with those guys, you know. Dave and Jeff are just magic.
I mean, you can hear
but I mean,
you can hear more of his guitar style in your playing on the first Toto album, I think, you know, and after, as you begin to discover who you are later on.
Who am I supposed to be?
With Skunk Baxter.
Skunk and I, man, I always loved the irony about the Steely Dan high school thing. It's like, well, Landau was Denny Diaz and I was Skunk, right?
All right.
Old guy, I was more out front guy, ham bone, you know, doing things like wearing masks and making the band crack up and sliding across the stage on my knees and getting splinters and just anything to crack the band up. And then Jeff and Dave would come down to some of our big gigs and sit in with us. It's like, you know, so it was really a lot of fun. We were all studying music like fiends, trying to, you know, are we good enough to be studio players? Are we good enough we wanted to have a band too, but it was like different. Jeff and Dave, they were like, we wanted to be like them. They were like, we want to do what they do. You know what I mean?
So I guess, I mean, it's only people really in New York or LA who could have that dream, isn't it? Of to kind of, we want to be studio guys.
Nashville, London, perhaps. You know?
Yeah, but Nashville was just country then.
I got to say, arguably, you know, it's not George Jones country, but it's.
No, I mean, back then.
Talk about great musicianship. Country, forget about it. There's such amazing musicianship going on in Nashville, everywhere. I mean, you find the great players. But Skunk and I go back. I mean, he just talked to me. He called me in the car the other day, man. I'm always teasing him because, you know, he works for the government too.
Yeah,
I'm always busting his balls. Going, tell him about the aliens, man. Come on. I know you know. I know you can't tell me. He goes, well. Because Luke, there's nothing to, you know, he's like, there's nothing to tell you, you know, he's obviously like taking the sacred oath, you know.
Yeah, you can't tell you.
But I bust him on things. I say things to him, and he's surprised that I would know about, but he would really try not to react at all. You know, he's been trained to do that, but I keep picking at him. Come on, tell me.
He's still working for the government because I know he did.
What's going on in Area 53?
Yeah. See what 53?
That's where the real action is, man. You know.
Area 54. That's the disco one.
There would be aliens like to dance like anybody else.
But what you guys were doing, and I suppose that era, you know, we had Leyland Sklar on a while back, you know, that the old session guys, like in the Wrecking Crew or whatever, you know, it was really just about reading the notes.
No, wrong. I mean, yes, in many cases, all those guys could sight read like crazy. But the Wrecking Crew was the first bunch of studio players, I believe, that got chord charts. They come up with your own parts. You know, Louis Shelton played the opening of the Last Train to Clarksville with that great G7. That makes the whole tune. I mean, a lot of those guys, that was just G written on a chart. You know what I mean? These guys,
Right.
and we sort of, you had to be able to read, but geez, I was never a good reader, man. I was could read just good enough to bullshit my way through anything, which was, you know, and as you do it every day, you get better at it. And as you don't do it for 25 years, you kind of lose. If I live in France for 25 years and then I don't go back for 40, my French is going to be a little rusty. That's a use it or lose it kind of thing with all that, you know?
Yeah.
Or get you in asking you to find the parts, right?
I mean, sight reading stuff, not just reading music, but I mean, like having to sit down and go, holy shit, the red button's going to be on in a second.
Well, so how quick was it?
You had to bring it. Even if you had nothing on the paper, you still had to come up with something just that fast. If they didn't like it, you had to have something else for them right away.
Yeah.
Not fold under pressure or under the red light. A lot of cats were great players, but they couldn't hang with the pressure.
And that's, so when did you find that out, Steve? I mean, what were the first gigs you got? Because obviously people, you know, because it's a cutthroat world out there, and pretty soon people go, hang on, this guy's got it. This guy will turn up and he'll drop something. So, you know.
Well, I mean, they would hire us with the confidence that we were going to give them what they wanted, even though they didn't know what they wanted yet. You get a singer-songwriter to just sing and play his song on a guitar or on a piano or something before all the synths and all the crazy demos. There's no demos, no rehearsal. We show up and go, what are we doing today? Who am I playing with? And it was, you know, the same 25 guys or something like that would play on everything. And we all knew each other, and we're still best buddies to this day. I'm hanging out with, you know, I love all those guys. And what they did for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The session stuff mostly after the first Toto album, or was it before?
No, it started happening like, you know, in 1977 after
You're like, now
we cut a demo was January 7th, 1977. That was the first time we did All Us Boys. It was just Jeff and Dave, and then I put my guitar parts on, and then other guys came in after that. So you know, next year in 77 or in 27 would be the beginnings of our 50th anniversary. Album came out in 78, but we were working on it
while you were doing sessions, while you were playing with Boz Scaggs.
Well, that was before. See, that, you know, it was a very strange set of circumstances. You know, I owe it all to, like, you know, Jeff and Dave and David Foster and Jay Graydon and all the genius guitar players I got to sit next to through the years. In the older school, above me, Larry Carlton, Dean Parks, Lee Ritenour Jr. These are the guys I was sitting next to when I was still a zit-faced teenager, man.
But then you ended up going out with Larry, didn't you? You do double.
Many years later.
Yeah.
We won a Grammy on him. LC is one of my all-time, you know. I got a lot off of him, man. I learned, and then being able to play with him every night, I was able to learn so much. Like before, every night we would go on in Japan, an hour before the show, we sit in the room and with a couple of guitars, and I go, okay, sensei. I kept calling him sensei, which means great teacher.
Master, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, what's my lesson today? And he'd look at me. He'd go, man, you know, you need to start thinking about this and these and the other options, and, you know, transposing thirds all over the neck to find different voicings from different improvisational ideas. He was a wonderful teacher. He was patient. I got some chord melody stuff that I wanted to learn, and he was very patient with me, man. He's still a great friend of mine and, you know, hero. But all those guys, Jay Graydon was really my mentor. Jay and Lee, they got me a lot of work helped me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Took me under their wing, like recommend me for gigs they can't do. And when Jay Graydon went to production, he gave me all of his work, and we wrote songs together. There were hits for all that. Turn Your Lover On for George Benson. We wrote in 10 minutes at his house. And
that's such a great record, by the way. You can't just throw it away like that. I mean, you want
you should have seen. No, wait a second. The part that nobody knows is, remember, this is when the Lindrum just came out. Now, I'll tell you the story about, as I remember it. myself, Jeff Porcaro, and Steve Porcaro sitting on the couch at Roger Lynn's apartment. He was sharing with a guy we knew from high school. And we walk in, and he, at the time, Roger was Leon Russell's guitar player and engineer. He was the only guy that could fix the Stevens 40-track machine or whatever. He has all this tech stuff. And he was also a great guitar player. People didn't know he could play guitar. But I remember looking at Jeff when he pressed the button, the soldering irons were still out. He had taken apart a Roland rhythm box or whatever, and
A CompuRhythm.
yeah, to one of the ones you put on the organ and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, full fromage. But he figured out a way to get in there and change like where the backbeat would be to a snare drum, the first sample, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he turned it on, there was a hi-hat, kick, and a snare going doof bap doof doof bap doof bap. Jeff jumped off of this thing. Said, "We got to get rid of this thing. It's gonna fuck everything up." He said that. There was some other stuff, but this is a long time ago. I said, but anyway, that I'm getting back to the Benson thing. It was like, so we write the song. We want to get we want to finish it because it's going on George's greatest hits and all this other stuff. So I'm thinking, well, this is going to be great, I came up with the intro piano lick and all that stuff, and Jay and I finished it all, and Bill Champlin came in and wrote the words afterwards. And this is all in one night.
George isn't involved.
Then I called up Jeff and said, "Hey, man, can you go over here and program this Linn drum machine for me? You've got one of the greatest drummers of all time." But he understood what was coming. He learned how to use all this. And now this is version 1 of the Linn drum, without any real dynamics.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah. It was as stiff as you in your first Playboy. Thank you. I'll be appearing all week. Make sure to tip your waitress.
Try the veal.
Yeah, try the veal.
That's a cancel.
Push the veal. Push the veal. Where was I, man? I'm an old fuck. Oh, yeah. And so Jeff Porcaro comes over, and he's down on the ground. It's like midnight or something at this point. It's like, and he's down on the ground programming this thing. I'm going like, he should just play this, man. Come on, it's Jeff. And his drums weren't there at the time because it was a midnight call. And he came over and hung out, a few beers and a few laughs, and we did this thing. Then I said, "Paige, you got to come over and play synth bass on this." So he came over about 2. It was an all-night hang, you know what I mean? And we'd finished this, the first version of it that night, in one night. And, we used to do, when we were young and free and no family. And we were just enjoying being crazy guys in the valley,
Do you know what I was thinking about the other day? Because I knew you were coming on the show, and for some reason I never listened to this band. I've never listened to this band really, but they came on, and it Three Dog Night I'm talking about. So, these guys are the beginning of that thick vocal harmony stuff that you were doing.
I saw them at the Forum, and they were every bit as good live as they were on record. Okay, that's the first thing. And we're talking like 1969 I went, 68, 69.
So with one, that great song, One, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I thought all that, I was in from day one with those guys. And ironically ended up playing on 2 Corey Wells solo records. And
That's right, yeah.
And, I got to know like a bunch of those other guys, and Mike Alsop, but I loved the guitar player. He was such a great player, tasty.
You can see that vocal
The whole
stuff.
band was just killer. I never understood why people gave them shit. Maybe it's because they didn't write all their own material, which is, that people hold that against people instead of realizing that, Frank Sinatra didn't write all of his own stuff.
Yeah. Elvis Presley, anyone?
The Beatles did cover songs, so.
You know what? The thing is, though, Luke, it's what we're living in now is a time of real reappraisal, right? Because we go to the stuff like I'm going to Three Dog Night. I don't know nothing about them. I just hear some amazing stuff coming out of my speakers. A
couple of the guys are, it's kind of an estranged version. I understand that, being that I get that shit all the time. But, their music, their records, great records. And they used to make them right down the street at American Studios, which I didn't know was a recording studio when I was a kid, and I'd walk by it every day. I didn't know that Three Dog Night and Steppenwolf and all these other cool bands from the 60s.
What studio is that? Where is that? American Sound?
American Studios. It was
American-
Richie Podler's place, right on Ventura Boulevard and Tahonga. It's still there, I think.
So you're still in the valley? So you're in the valley? Are you in the valley? You still in the valley then?
I just live in the, as cliche as this is, the Hollywood Hills, I guess, on the valley side.
On the valley, yeah. I love that. Yeah, I love that. You're so dyed in the wool, man. I love that.
No, we're all valley guys.
In North Hollywood, aren't you? But didn't Bobby Kimball sort of have a connection with Three Dog Night?
He did. He was in the spin-off band without the singers, called what was it called? SS Fools. And they had a record that came out and didn't really do anything, and that's when Jeff and Dave heard Bobby, because they knew Joe Shermy, the original Three Dog Night bass player. Sweet cat, a little bitter about the whole thing. He passed away years ago, God bless him. But that was a killer band too, not just the singers. That band, that original band, they played on all those records. They did that. That was real.
But it was a real American sound, that brass that used to, being up so far up front. I guess who's the other band that I'm thinking of that were very brass orientated American?
Chicago Transit Authority.
I'm thinking before then actually, but sure.
Yeah, I did a couple records with them after post Terry Kath, who was one of my all-time guitar
Oh,
heroes.
right.
I really, man, he was just so good. Oh,
But the thing is,
people forget about
Bobby-
Terry Kath. Don't forget about Terry Kath, okay?
Bobby Kimball's voice, though, Luke, that's really what I'm.
One of a kind, man. Listen, I love Bobby, and we've been in touch, but he's starting to lose touch with who he is now because of the dementia. It's very sad, and I have no right to talk about it. I love him, and we have there's a third party involved that sends love, and there was all this bullshit in the early '90s about how we were mortal enemies and all this crap. I love Bobby Kimball. He's one of the greatest singers I've ever been around. When the voice was on, he was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that much power, man, it takes a lot to make that power come alive. And
So was David writing the songs? David Pace writing the songs mostly, and then Bobby taking the lead on. Is that the? And I know you had the
certainly for the first couple of records, it was like that. We all sang on all of our records. Both, the first album had Bobby on most of it, and then I sang a couple, three. I sang a couple. David sang a couple, and Steve Lukather sang one. And we kind of carried that into the next album, Hydra, where it was just like the problem with us, and that's what everybody says, oh, who are these guys? Like on one hand, we play Hold the Line, then we play Georgie Porgy, and we lost the rock audio. We let radio stop, because like that it doesn't sound like it should be. A real rock band wouldn't have that on their records. Well, we didn't put a category on ourselves. We just went in and started playing music. Dave would come on, no rehearsals. Dave would come in with a song a day. That first album, Dave, what do you got for us? We'd be working all day. Then he would produce Cheryl Lynn at night, and then he would come in with a new song.
Love that show.
For one day, it's Hold the Line. Next day, it's also, let me go. This guy's like the Riffmeister, man. I mean, he's, for me, one of the greatest songwriters ever. And he taught me him and Jeff taught me how to make records and invaluable. 50 years later, I still remember, pearls of wisdom that were given to me and how much I learned from those guys. But been in a band and all that,
But seeing as you can carry and basically front an arena band, how different a hat was that for you to kind of go back to being Mr. Studio?
It's terrible. I didn't want to be that. I mean, it was like, wait a second, man, I can sing, but I'm not like great singer and better at it when I was young. But I mean, it's like I sing because I have to, because those are the songs. I really worked hard on it with a great teacher. And you just got to keep it up, plus you surround myself with like 5 lead singers on stage. So you can always, listen, I'm 68 years old. I mean, I have no visions of being like, oh yeah, trying to keep up with the kids, but we have a lot of fun doing it. And everybody, Joseph sings great and he's the lead singer really, but everybody on stage can sing.
No, that's a great.
Yeah, I've never heard Shannon sing and play drums, but probably could. Anyway, the point is, go ahead.
The band I was trying to remember earlier for anyone else who's listening, wondering who it was Blood, Sweat and Tears.
Oh, of course.
So you know, this was a band that was
Lucretia. Yeah.
huge in America. There was an
Yeah, man,
American
you know, that-
sound that was growing, because before then you always felt like there was, you know, the British sound, and there were a lot of American acts were trying to copy that. And then there's this sort of jazz sound that started
Right.
to develop.
I mean, I dug that, but I dug Chicago more because Terry Kath. You know, well, you
But you
know,
played solo on
I was off
Hard to
into
Say I'm
that
Sorry, didn't you?
first CTA record, you know.
Yeah,
You played the solo on Hard to Say I'm Sorry, didn't you? For
Yes,
sure.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. But I did the track too. I mean, I did the whole. That was the first album David Foster produced, which people hate in some cases. I was just so honored to play with the band because I'm a fan. And you know, I certainly know Terry Kath, but you know, I just came in and fulfilled the position. And you know, there was a few here. Then Mike Landau started doing it the next album after that, you know. And that's when the hardcore old school Chicago fans like hated those records.
But how do you do your solo? Do you like to do it in the control room or in the studio?
I've done it both ways. Most of the time I do it in the studio just because I like to hear it on the big speakers and be in real close contact with the producer and the engineer, and we're all hearing and we're all in the same headspace. You know, when you do an overdub and you're just the only guy out there with a pair of phones on, you getting a vibe in the room, it changes everything. You know what I mean? There's an excitement to it.
And do you know what
also
you're doing?
pushes you to bring it because people are going, come on, man, bring it. You got to bring it.
I always think it's nice just being in the control room with the producer. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing, if I'm honest.
The thing is about your guitar playing, though, Luke, is it really feels so alive. It really feels so performed. It really feels like you're on stage giving it some, you know. And you can't do that when you're in the control room, can you? You're just sitting on the sofa or whatever.
Well, you know, I understand what you mean there. It's two different things. Playing live and making records are two different arenas, really. Because you know, I equate it to Formula One as opposed to painting a Rembrandt, you know, or whatever.
Different.
You know, in the studio, you put a few colors in, you can change it, you can live with it overnight, you can come back and embrace it and try another thing that didn't work. But when you're alive, man, if you bang into the walls, you got to keep going.
That's true. Well, I will say the difference is on the record, you're playing what the song needs. On live, you're playing what you want, what you think it needs.
Well, you know, I'm a very imperfect person, especially in my, you know, I'm not going to kid myself. Now, I mean, I've been in bus accident. My arms are shot from a bus accident like 8-9 years ago. I can't lift up 10 pounds, but I can kind of go like this still. I'm glad I'm not a kid starting out now. It's really rough, man. You know, there's not a lot of musicians. And now they got this AI shit that's going to erase everybody.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Everything serves a purpose when used properly.
Yeah.
You
I
can
was
say
trying to
AI,
even
AI
us.
No, but AI started with the drum machine.
That's right.
That's true. Yeah.
Understand it. You know, we were going like,
Yeah, no, you're right.
button,
Yeah.
and drums came.
Yeah.
Perfectly in time, almost too perfect. And, you know, and we went from there. So it's like, and also if you look at what was going on at the time in the 80s and all that, style and everything, all of a sudden it was more about how you looked as opposed to how you played and or sang. That there are people that had hits in the 60s that wouldn't have had a chance.
No, but there's also, I want to interrupt one thing about the 80s, because the 80s is there was so much that machine. But I remember with the Lynn and everything happened that it was like, well, this is obviously just the end of drummers. And it just wasn't. It just hasn't been.
But like
it became a golden age, and it still isn't. Do you know what I mean? And it's been 50 years, 40 years now.
No, what is happening is like people have had enough of the Happy Meal. You know what I mean? They know what it tastes like. They know what it gets. It tastes the same every time. They buy it anyway. You know, I think young kids, what's been astounding is seeing all these young, like 10-year-old kids playing in a band, playing our music. I'm going, what?
Yeah.
And they do it great. Like, I didn't even think they'd be interested in that, you know? But I guess our music, it's according to the analytics on Spotify, that our audience between 15 and 35 has jumped up 200%.
You know, that's really funny you say that, because
Come on, Gary, give him the fact.
Because my old band Spotify numbers doubled in the last 3 months, and I got the analytics recently, and it's 40% of them are below 35. And my son, right, who's 16, he said to me about 3 months ago, "Have you heard a record called Georgie Porgy?" and he played, and he played me it. He's digging it so much, and he loves your
We're
stuff.
getting offers from colleges now.
That's amazing.
If you'd have told me this stuff, listen, I really want to make a big point of this because I take a lot of shit for it from certain people. I know what we're doing now is not the original band. Lord knows I wish it could be. It could be intact and everybody healthy and we could still have been doing it, but as the years went, we went through some tragic losses. And after that, we persevered. Arguably, you could say after David Hungate threw his bass across the room in 1981, that was the end of Toto. Certainly when Jeff passed, we all thought, well, how are we going to carry on? Had we not made that album, King Desire, and had tickets on sale that were sold out all over Europe, and a crew and everybody, we would have probably packed it in that. I mean, the thought of carrying on without Jeff was unthinkable, and but we did. We carried on because even if we didn't, it wouldn't bring him back. And we had a record to promote that he was very proud of. Jeff had a lot to do with Kingdom of Desire and how
that was a big
kind of like, people don't realize that he really kind of helped put the vision, got us all in a room writing together, and that's how we made that record, which is why it sounds different than other ones. But we're always trying new stuff, and we take shit for it. However, I know, someone I knew well would argue that it's Steve Lukather's Toto, which it makes me laugh. I'm going like, look, I'm the last man standing from the original, but not by choice. And I always differentiate with Dogs of Oz or something like, I know the difference between the old and the new. All I'm trying to do is keep our old music alive.
Yeah.
And also, the families make a lot of bread off our touring.
Your audience is younger.
And our record sales, we've got 4.2 billion streams. And when I took over management, I got us the best possible percentage. Spotify was 2 weeks old. So I'm one of the lucky ones. But
I love this.
Also another 10 million records sold. In the last 10 years.
No, but look, this rebirth through streaming. We had John Fogerty on a couple of weeks ago. Probably the biggest band in America right now, and haven't released a record since '73 or whatever.
You know what else it is, man? Kids feel the real.
Truth.
Yeah.
There's something. If you put on a modern record, I'm not going to name any names, but the way they're produced, the way they sound sonically, sounds way different than a record made in 1973. Yeah. You put on Dark Side of the Moon or something like that, sonically, Alan did an incredible job. It still holds up best of the best. But you could feel the wood in the room. You could feel the air, the humanity of more than one person at a time playing together. Notice how you don't have any nice, cool, long fade outs anymore. AI can't jam. You know what I mean? When we were players, and young guys, after we knew we had the take, oftentimes Jeff or somebody would just start jamming on something. We knew we had it. And sometimes it ended up on the record because there were some great jams. But you have to be in the room for something like that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure it would be interesting to see what AI improvise me a solo, and they will. And you go, shit. It should be that good,
Yeah, but it'll only be based on every solo that's ever happened. That's the only thing. There's no fresh input.
That's me, but by doing that, you're turning it into a happy meal.
Yeah.
Taste the same. How does it taste the same all over the world?
we have to talk
I wouldn't need it, but what I mean.
Can we do Thriller? Can we talk about a bit of that?
I want to talk about one thing first, Guy, with just one record, because I just want to bring this up because there's one record that you're on, and it's one of my favorite. And it was at that time when I was really getting into chops and that whole Top Session Dog scene. I'm just really looking up to all you guys, and it's this record which is it's like $1 billion rhythm section, all playing billion, and no one is playing anything. It's the complete opposite. It is so perfect and minimal, and it's the section. It's just you, Jeff Porcaro, Abraham Laboriel. And it's You Might Need Somebody by Randy.
Oh, gosh, I remember Time in the Boom. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Perfect? I don't know.
That track is perfect.
It did the double track solo. It's kind of put it a little bit out of tune. And shit. Some people like,
it's fantastic.
Some guys are like, hey, man, what's up with that guitar player?
No, but just that.
Talking
I'd
about
also
it,
that's Jeff. You know, that's Jeff to the max.
We did that. We did that all. I think it was it Foster playing keyboards?
No, it's oh damn, I've forgotten the guy's name.
It was one of the cats, man.
Yeah, no, one of the cats.
I'm sorry.
No,
That was
you're
a jive. I understand. Go ahead, make fun of the old guy. I talk funny.
we're not making fun. No one's making fun of anyone.
I make fun of people. Believe me, all the time.
No, it's when I hear word cats. From when I lived in LA.
Well, it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek wink, wink. You know, like,
everything. Yeah,
old jazz musicians.
I know.
So because it was just one of those things that just it was a moment in time. What if I refer back to that? It shows the white hair is real. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm that old bastard.
Yeah, but it's hair.
Yeah, I just try. And people don't believe that it's my hair. I don't even believe I have as much hair.
Okay,
Anyway, going back to Thriller. What do you want to know about Thriller?
So you had to go back and recut that Beat It, right? Is that true?
No. That's a yes, but it's not the way you're presenting it. There was a version of it that just didn't make the cut, I guess. And they wanted to they had the lead vocal Michael had done, and they had Eddie Van Halen's solo, which had been done prior to me ever hearing it. And then Jeff Porcaro and I were called into Sunset Sound with Umberto Gatica was the engineer, and Quincy wasn't even there. Quincy, because they were working in 3 studios all at once, they were working on Billie Jean or something like that at Westlake, and we were in Sunset. And Quincy just said to me, he goes, you got to put this back together for me, man. I can't lose. I mean, because Michael always would do his voice 5 times. I don't even quintupled. Is that what you would say? But very subtly mixed, so it didn't sound like there was 5 voices. You could spend out. I mean, they spent hours and hours, God knows how many days, getting those vocals as pristine and perfect as they were. Michael had the talent, but he knew it. I guess he just wanted something else. So Jeff, we go over to Sunset Sound. And I hear this, and I'm cracking up at Eddie's solo going, "Take head, man." And we could hear something happened when Ed did his solo where the track was cut. The 24 track was cut and wouldn't sync back up again. So they had to use the master reel, had master lead vocals, master Eddie, and maybe and somebody Michael playing 2 and 4 on a drum case, and bleed through from all the headphones. From like when you get it, so Jeff, there was no click track because the cut had, once you cut the SMPTE code, you can't put it back together again. So Jeff goes, okay, I'm going to go out there with my drumsticks and make a click track for us. He goes, just give me all the headphone bleed you got and the 2 and 4 and whatever bleed through. And, we were writing a chart just for the form. Just, it's all E, but, we didn't write the riff on it. Michael had the riff. First thing I did, Jeff did that like 1-2 takes. He said, let me play the drums on this. So he goes right to the drums and plays his own click track with the chart of the music to match up with you could hear the lead vocal, so you knew where it was. And he, I think it was, Jeff was never more than 2 takes anyway. I think he nailed it, or maybe punched in one little part of it. And then the first thing I did was like get a wall of Marshalls out, going, Eddie's on this thing. We got to make this thing rock. So I get out there and give it the, as crunchy as you could be in that era, 1983 or 2. It was 82 when we cut that record. Yeah. So, I had, Marshalls on there, and I put a bass part on. I played bass on it too. And I sent it to Quincy. He goes, I love it. It's too much, man. It's too much. It's too heavy. I got to get this on R&B radio. Go get one of them small Fender amps of yours, and don't give me too much distortion, because like I said, I got to get this. I want this a multi-platform #1 record. That's their whole thing was, I want to be number 1 in every category. So I turned, so I said, okay. So I got my old Fender Deluxe, turned off a little gain, and just did a double track instead of a quadruple track, and then got back into the right place. And Q said, oh, that's great, man. Now come down here. We want you to play some other stuff. Michael will be here, and we'll walk through it. And that was a da-da-da. All he had was da-da-da, da-da-da, going over and over again. My addition was like da-da-da, ba-ba-da. I go, like, for this is going to be easier on the ears not to just have the same thing going like this. I sold them the idea, and they liked that. And then they proceeded to finish the record as you know it.
But who did that big riff? Where did that big riff come from? Down. Was that yours?
Was Michael. That was Michael.
He came up with that on a keyboard, did he? First of all,
I think he sang it. Yeah,
no, he used to sing.
That's what he used to do and everything, wasn't it? He just sang.
He'd sing every parts that he was hearing, grooves and riffs and stuff like melodies. You know, he would make a little 4-track cassette or something.
Yeah, bass line to Billie Jean. It was just it was him. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, he you know, he was very involved, and like you knew, you know, if it wasn't really in the pocket yet, he wouldn't really move. But once I started playing right in the pocket, then he started dancing like Michael.
Look, you know, guys,
room,
you know,
like he started dancing around.
You know, Guy's story. You know, he's Michael Jackson.
You know my story. You know, I played on Earth Song.
Did you?
I did, and it was but that was because only he was there, and Bill Bottrell was producing.
Bill's very talented. Yeah,
Bill's amazing, and he'd heard Like a Prayer, and so they wanted this octave pedal thing, and so I was coming down, and Michael was never there. He'd always kind of just left, and I have to come back, and they go, well, Michael liked this, didn't like that, and it was really, you know, it was weird. I mean, doing an octave pedal thing on this ballad, it didn't really make any sense. But then finally, one day I came down and they said, Mike, quick, get down here. Michael, be here. And I got there. Sorry, Michael's just left. But there was this new engineer. They said, that's the engineer. It was this giant Samoan guy who was just down an end of the mix.
Samoan or just a big guy?
Just a big guy.
You mean Bruce Swedien?
No. It wasn't an engineer. It wasn't Bruce Swedien. No. It wasn't an engineer. This is the whole point. There was a guy who was down one end of the desk. And I couldn't get down that end. And then whenever I played anything, this guy would lean over and come back. And then he'd go, I think Michael would find that appropriate. And Michael was hiding under the mixing desk, which he did.
I mean, you know, he would come out in the open for us, I guess.
But he had this whole period, around this period, he was doing a lot of hiding. Nile Rodgers had a meeting with him and he just hid under the desk. You know, I would have liked to have met him.
I can't begin to speak for Michael. I will tell you, he was always very nice. And
I dare say, yeah.
And it was fun, you know, to work with him because you get a reaction out of him. You go, oh, wow, please the boss, you know?
Yeah.
And Quincy trusted me. I played a lot. I started work for him during the Dude record, which is the record he did right before.
Yeah, I'm like,
so I got to play on all of that. And then he took a little bit of a shine to me. And I did a bunch of records for Q right in a row. And it was a lot of fun. Great. I was in my early 20s. I was just on top of the world. You know?
Amazing. But also, I must say, Steve, with your playing on those records, and especially like that stuff, this thing you were just saying on Beat It, and there's also like the way you play on Human Nature, which is amazing. But I think, because you've said that your first kind of guitar hero was George Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a real influence, and it's not in the sound. It's just that thing of perfect little parts,
melody,
like not an ounce of fat, just a perfect little
arrangement.
Right.
You got nominated for a arrangement Grammy for Human Nature, even though Steve Lukather always hated my guitar part. What can I say, man?
What? The best thing on it.
Because he said, make it funky for me. I did the best I could. But anyway, I don't know. It was just a great time in life, man. We were playing all the biggest records that were coming out. We got the first call to play on all the A-list sessions, man. That was the best parts of my life. It was just the most creative period. You were always creating with incredible musicians and producers and engineers and writers.
And you're doing like 3-4 a day, aren't you? That's the whole thing. There were all those, because what were the studios you're at? You're at Westlake,
I would
Sounds.
Let me see. I'd work there in the daytime with Cheap Trick I played a song on Dream Police album. And then I played to go and do Aretha Franklin at night with the Reef, and you know, with the whole other actually, you know. So you do stuff Joni Mitchell during the day, and then you do like Alice Cooper at night. You know, I mean, this was like late 70s, early 80s, and all through that time when I really first came on the scene. Boz Scaggs was a huge.
But I love what you do with Boz. You know, and Boz was a great influence, wasn't he, as a writer on everybody, because that Blue-Eyed Soul thing he was doing.
Well, that was all David Page wrote all the songs. Boz wrote the words with him and stuff, you know.
Your guitar, picking the sort of funky stuff you were doing, who was your inspiration for that?
Oh, gosh. You know, that was like, you have to know your common tones really well. So harmony and theory really do help you when you're playing. There are a lot of people that just deny that knowing basics of harmony theory and all that. I'm not talking about having to be Joe's sight reader. I mean, that's a whole other level of study for guys that do television and film that just read the notes and they do it so well. That's a different kind of pressure, man. I did a couple when I was young. It was like, by the grace of God go I. You know?
What about you as a songwriter, Luke? Because I think that was so what I loved about what I like about when you all get to Toto 4 is that the maturity is spread through all of you, and it's not just about David's songs anymore. And
David was the first.
I Won't Hold You Back is a great song.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate, and that was all encouraged by Dave. Dave would come, like when we were doing Turn Back, the third album, I'd be out in the, they'd be aligning machine, or I wasn't necessary for something and they were doing something. I could just sit out in the dark at Cherokee Studios. They had a great grand piano there, and I just ride along, and I was playing this I Won't Hold You Back riff. And Dave goes, finish that. You should finish that. I go, really? You don't think it's too, like, poppy, sappy kind of thing? He goes, no, man, not at all. And, he would work really hard on my songs and stuff that encouraged me, going, no, come on, man, this is a great song. Let's finish this together, I owe so much to David for bringing that out of me and giving me the confidence. By Toto 4, we had figured out who we were. The first album, we never even played live together as Toto. We just, Dave and Jeff put together that band, and we went in the studio because of the success of Silk Degrees with Boz, that David and Boz wrote those great songs,
Right.
And the rhythm section was Dave Hungate, Jeff, and Paige. I was still in high school.
That's right. Yeah. Because that record, certainly over in Britain, was so big. It literally owned Radio 1 for a year. All those singles, didn't it? It was amazing.
And I got to do that tour, when I was just 19.
You didn't go out on the road with Toto 4, did you?
We did a little bit, but the problem was, and where we fucked up was that because a lot of us had great studio careers, particularly, and Jeff and I were working more than everybody at that time. Jeff, we had already been on the road for like 6 months on and off promoting the show, doing gigs to promote Toto 4. And then when it split up, we should have gone back on the road after the Grammys and all that. But Jeff was like, nah, man, I don't want to go on the road. Some internal issues, and we opted not to do that, and we kind of lost our USA audience that we could have had, which we're just getting back now, if you can believe it. After all these years in the US, we bubbled under on the US until the last 4 or 5 years. We all of a sudden, thanks to these weird, like, video games and Stranger Things TV shows and all this licensing stuff that brought our music to a younger audience, going, hey, who are these guys? I like this, All of a sudden, the streaming goes up, and people can hate Danny Ek and Spotify all they want, but they didn't get a good deal. And I think once the record companies figured out that was going to be the only game in town, they made everybody go back to their original percentage of their record deals.
Yeah. Paying for packaging on streaming.
Well, no, the best one was like, when that came out, it was like the 10% breakage fee. Which part of the air broke when I'm just curious. They're kind of selling air, and they're worried about what percentage they get. I mean, but I was very blessed to get in. David said to me when I took the first meeting with Sony, and I redid our whole record deal and all the other stuff when I took over management, I had a meeting with everybody at Sony in New York. I had a whole plan, that I laid onto them, how they were going to make money. Then you get their attention. See, if you tell them they're going to make money, then they'll listen to you.
But this is amazing. So it seems to me, Luke, that you've always been like, you're taking on the management and clearly doing a really good job of it.
Well,
and there's also like how you manage to run a band whilst being the busiest session player in the world.
Well, I'm not the busiest session player anymore. That doesn't.
No, you were though.
I mean, we were the last golden age of guys that would walk in and not knowing, no rehearsal, with a chord sheet even. Okay.
Are session players around now? Who are they now? Do they exist in the same way?
They do. It's in Nashville, isn't it?
Well, Nashville, they still play live, but the days in LA when you'd show up and you wouldn't know who was playing on the record until you saw their trunks in the hallway. Oh, Lee Sklar's going to be here. Hey, You know, and all the, you know, besides the Toto gang and all the other guys that I got, all the, you know, the guys like Cooch and Waddy and that whole gang over there, Sunset Sound.
Coach wrote a song for you, didn't he? He wrote one of your
Yes.
song.
He wrote a song called Kingdom of Desire for us. And then he also co-wrote and produced a couple tracks for my first solo album back in 1988. Him and Waddy, and those guys are also heroes of mine for a different reason. Wes Kunkel and Lee Sklar, and you get in the room with those guys. Jeff and I were the ones that would like, we'd go into these different little cliques. Like we could cross the clique line, you know, and we'd work for Quincy, then we work for Foster, then we work with the guys in the Sound Factory, then we'd work on hard rock records, super pop records. It was like, what are we doing today? And that was half the challenge and fun. But now cats can't do that. There's no budgets for it. And I do understand that the money's been taken out of the record business. There was a lot of money in the record business.
Well, yeah, I used to get flown to LA to play on records. Why would you? I mean, that seems nuts. But it's like it's not like there aren't any bass players in LA.
Well, the thing is, you have something to give that they
and it was fun. But like I said, but annoyingly, it's amazing. It was never you on the session. It used to be Dan Huff, Tim Pierce, David Williams.
It was the next generation.
Yeah,
Dan is brilliant. I love
Dan's amazing. Yeah,
Huff is just a world-class musician, guitar player, producer, and a really, really super nice guy, man.
Yeah, and I only did one day with Jeff, which was Hanky Panky and Something to Remember for Madonna.
Jeff was like, everybody wanted Jeff to be in the band.
He was amazing. It was still one of the best days of my life playing with him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we still listen to the Steely Dan records, just live forever, don't they? Because of the feel.
I gotta say, man, I mean, he can make a bad band sound great. Sometimes we'd be on a session where it was a quirky rhythm section that didn't quite click. It'd be like, well, this is the guys from my band. They're going to play. Half of the band's going to be here, and then you guys are going to. So trying to pull that together and stuff like that. Jeff could manage to. He was just a magical, you know. You walk in the room would get brighter, man.
And playing with his brother must have been amazing too, right? You know, his brothers.
Those guys.
Right, that rhythm section of Mike and Jeff.
Pocket was tighter than a weekend at Jeffrey Epstein's.
Okay,
that was probably in poor taste, wasn't it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sailing a a close now.
I think
man, I'm just being a sarcastic.
Changing the subject.
I have 4 children, 2 daughters.
I think you're our third Ringo Starr band member.
Alumni.
We had alumni. We had Graham Gouldman. What a song! He's a lovely guy. And who else did we have? We had Hamish Stewart.
Yeah, Hamish Stewart.
I love him, man.
Is he still in the band?
Yeah, he's still doing it. We just finished
What a voice he's still got.
A couple months back. And there's we're gonna do something next year for a shorter period. Maybe just do Vegas for a couple of weeks, just because the boss wants to.
Please, can you come soon?
He loves to stay in it, man.
If there's a spare, I know
85, and he's in better shape than I am. That's for sure.
You know what's amazing is when he was a kid before he did the Beatles, he was in hospital all the time. I mean, he was famously sick. He was, you know, they never thought he was going to last the week.
He missed one of the first big tours because he was sick.
No, that was just Australia.
That's enough.
He is, you know, it's something he has to be careful of. I have no right to speak for Ringo, but I mean, it's common knowledge that when he was very young, he had lung issues and he had to be in the hospital for like a really long time. And that's where he got the drum and changed his life. And, you know, it's amazing. You know, something horrible could happen, but something great comes out of it.
Yeah. Well, if you have any trouble filling the bass chair for that next year, just to say, you know,
I could see you on that.
I'd love to do that. I'd kill to do that.
You know, Guy, I mean, I love you, but you know, my friend John Pierce is like my first friend in life, and you know, John's pretty worthy bass player. I mean, pretty incredible musician. But if the place was ever to open up, I'll give you a bell.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot, man. I say a lot of silly stuff. Take it with a grain of salt.
No, it's lovely. It's lovely.
A cartoonish old 68-year-old, whatever.
You're looking great. I've got hair envy, actually. I mean,
same here. Same here.
I do have hair, even though people give me shit about it. You know what I mean? I just, my father was convinced I was going to lose my hair by the time I was 21 because he did.
You know, I was saying to Guy, your family has been in our life so long.
That's right, yeah.
We used to watch I Dream of Jeannie.
My father was the assistant
Oh,
director.
We know that, yeah.
It's
I
your
got
family.
to meet her when I was like 7 years
Oh.
old. You know, my dad never talked about work. I didn't even know half the shit he did until after, you know. But he took me down because I loved the show. I Dream of Jeannie. I was a little kid going, Jeannie, Jeannie, right? And she was so hot, but I didn't see it.
So
I was
hot.
still single digit. I didn't know what my dick was for yet. I just
That's the girl, her name.
thought it was like a magical, real place. Like the genie really could come out. You know, you're young in his early 60s, you know. And my dad was working on the show, and he had my mom bring me down and to meet Barbara Eden. And I was like, wow,
Barbara Eden,
she was so beautiful in her prime beauty.
Beautiful.
And she was lovely. She was so very nice to me. Stuck with me.
I think it was one of my first crushes, to be honest. Her, yeah, she was.
Yeah.
My first, her and Kathy Kemp. Anyway, we're going back.
Long time.
All right, Luke, thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll let you go, man.
Enjoy your day in LA.
Feel free to edit any stupid shit out. I don't care. I trust you guys. Most of it is like, well,
no, it's great. I love this. It's exactly the sort of wandering chat that we love.
The one thing I don't want to do is come off negative at all in any way. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for what
No, I'll tell you one thing for a start. You're very generous and you're incredibly gracious, and you're such a fan of all the guitar players who've been around you. That's a really nice thing to hear. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm the worst guitar player on them all. But they let me hang out because I'm amused them.
We had Beato on. Yeah, he's a great
Oh, Rick,
great
I
player
love
without
that.
a band.
Yeah. He's been so good to me for sure.
He's amazing.
But some of my humor, he's like, dude, how do you even think of this stuff? I just laugh and go, it's a gift. What can I say?
Thanks, Luke. All the best.
all right,
Take
mate.
care, guys.
Lots of love, Luke.
man. Thanks
Cheers.
for taking your time with me, man.
Oh, thank
Talk to
you.
you later. Bye.
Bye.